I'm here with the lovely Simone to talk about her solo record, Vermillion, out August 23rd on Nuclear Blast. Thank you very much to take the time to chat with me about the record, about everything that went into making this album. And let's start off with the partnership with Aryan. How did this collaboration, who called who?
I go for him because I've worked with him already many times for his project, Arian Transitus, and always been a great fan of his work, even before I joined Epica. And I thought, if I'm ever going to do a solo album that's in the metal music style, I think Aryan is the right guy to do it with. So I called him and asked him, told him about my idea, and he was excited. He's a fan of my voice. I'm a fan of his work. So I guess we were probably, it was written in the stars for us to do something like this one day. And now that finally came true.
Was it difficult to find the time between both of your busy schedules to work on this project?
Definitely. Yeah. Because I called him a couple of years ago and he also said, yeah, I have these and these projects. And I knew, okay, I have a new Epica album and I'm going to tour with that. So yeah, last year he then wrote me and he said, okay, how's your schedule looking? I am free now. Let's do this. So that's when we hit it off earlier last year. We started writing the songs. And of course, first we started talking about how do we want it to sound or how do I want it to sound, which bands besides Epica and Arian do I also like. So we know a little bit the musical direction we can take and started talking about a concept for lyrics. And yeah, that's how we kind of started.
What for you was the most important aspect that you outlined to him from the get-go that I want this record to be this? What do you put down as one of the most key important elements?
Well, besides his albums he wrote under the moniker Aryan, there was also an album Ambient that he did together with a Dutch singer that I always loved very much. And I got to perform one of the songs also during one of the Aryan shows in Tilburg a couple of years ago. Um, yeah, I told him I love bands like Rammstein, Muse, Timo Borgir, and of course his own music as well. And yeah, then we just started. I made a list of songs and bands that I liked to steer him in some kind of a direction. And he also said he needs a little concept idea to get going. He had the idea to do something with the color red, and I've had since the longest time the name Vermillion stuck in my head, knowing that one day I'm going to do something with it. And that perfectly aligned both of our visions. And we then started using the color red as a symbol for many human emotions uh, to translate that into lyrics. So, you have love, hate, anger, sadness, life and death, warning, passion. So all of that is woven into the lyrics as well. And of course, the artwork is definitely Vermilion.
Yeah, I was going to say the artwork is definitely red.
Yes, yes, that's true. That's the only thing is I did an interview once earlier and the guy said, yeah, I'm colorblind. I thought, okay, well, the color is red of the album. So yeah, then of course the people who are colorblind won't see it that clearly. But I think it's a striking color. It's a very beautiful color that really draws your eye, catches your eye.
Very vivid. It's funny that you mentioned some of those bands names because when I was listening to this album, you cannot place this album under one single umbrella and say that this record is this, because as you go from song to song, you can see industrial influences, you can see pop influences, symphonic influences,
Yes.
progressive influence. I mean, everything under the sun is somewhat
Mhm.
represented on this album, which creates a very eclectic sonic experience. Is this on one hand part of your own likes and what you like to listen to, or there's also a part of you that by experimenting into these different arenas, it allows you to try different things with your voice?
Uh, well, conscious choices have been made, but I know that Aryan is very good at writing beautiful melodies and making vocalists shine and write it exactly for the vocal range and vocal style of the singer. And both of us have eclectic music tastes. And I think it's good if you say it doesn't, you cannot say what it sounds like, because it is also very eclectic. And we made the conscious choice to choose Aeterna as a first single because it was the perfect match between Epica and Arian, but all the other songs are completely different. People will know that tomorrow another single will drop, and there's going to be then the fourth single with the album release, 10 songs in total, and all are very different. And I think that just, you know, makes it into a very good recipe to cater to many people who love music, but also metal and other styles as well. Yeah.
I'm sure you have a very gratifying time every time you release a new record with Epic, every time you go and you tour with the band. But now you're doing something that's a little bit closer to home, a little bit more of you. What is the best thing that you get out of putting a record like this together?
Just that sounds very selfish, but since it's a very personal thing, it's important that the composers, the artists firsthand are very happy and satisfied with the end result, because it is, you know, you pour your heart and soul into it. Music is subjective, and but it starts with yourself, that you have to stand, you know, 100% behind what you do. It's a very sincere um and soul-bearing album for both Arjen and me, and it's always exciting to find out, do other people connect to it as well. And so far both singles have been welcomed really well, and it's impossible to cater to everybody, to make everybody happy, because it's so subjective. But you have to let that go. And I think if if you're very happy with what you created yourself, that's where it starts, you know. And if other people like it as well, it's a huge bonus, of course.
You mentioned the lyrics and the themes in the lyrics. Is that a process that you enjoy, writing lyrics and creating your very own poetry, if you will?
Yeah, I always have this list on my phone whenever I have a cool, but I am a huge fan of fancy words and metaphors, and like to incorporate them in my lyric writing. And I love when titles have the same initials, and you know, coming up with cool monikers for songs. So that's why just hearing the word vermilion in a movie once, I thought, "Ooh, that's such a great word." I write it down, and one day I might use it. And it's the same with Epica now. I had a huge list of songs, titles, and little lines written down, and then I hear the music that the guys have been composing, and then I go and give a title to the track and start writing the story from there. So, and sometimes the process goes quickly, sometimes it's a difficult birth.
In writing these lyrics, considering the personal aspect of the record, do you find it to be a little bit therapeutical for you, not just to write them, but then to perform them and almost to exercise some of those demons that are
Yes.
with the lyrics?
Yeah, I guess everybody has a couple of demons on their shoulders, and music is definitely therapy and an invisible friend. And you know, you can channel so many things through music. It makes you feel all aspects, all human emotions possible. That's the power of music. And uh, that's what a lot of what connects people and helps people through life and accompanies you through life, through ups and downs, in the gym. And yeah, it's a beautiful, powerful tool. And I could not imagine a life without music. It would be so boring.
Very uninspiring kind of life without music, let me tell you.
Mm.
You have a
Hmm.
track on this record with Alyssa White, fellow Canadian.
Yes.
How did that collaboration come through? Did you think of the song and then think of her? Did you think of her and then work on the song? How did it happen?
Well, we had the song, and Arjen had this line, which he said he wanted a guest vocalist, male or female. And we thought about Alyssa, and I've known her for years. I've toured with her, but I've never actually worked with her and sang together in one song. So I sent her the song. I talked to her and told her, you know, I'm doing a solo album now, and this track would be great for you. She loved the track, and we just gave her, you know, all options to record whatever she wants, and it turned out amazing. So very happy to have her on there.
Definitely, Cradle to the Grave is a powerhouse track on this record. Another powerhouse
Yeah.
track for me is R.E.D. I love that song. I think it's one of the
hmm
catchiest, hookiest songs that the album has. It's impossible not to sing along. It's impossible not to, you know, spell out R.E.D. How did
Yeah.
that song come about? Was that one of the first, one of the last songs you guys worked on?
That was actually the very last song that Arjen wrote, and he wrote like 2, 3 songs. I would go to the studio to record those. A couple months later, more songs would come. RED was the last one, and I remember I was in the gym and I was thinking. He says, "Yeah, do you have another lyric idea, a title, or anything? I need inspiration." And I said, "Yeah, well, you said Red as a starting point to write the album. We need to have a song that's called Red, but make it RED and use all letters as a starting point for words." And I wanted this album to be about robots that want to be human and strive to feel the human emotions, but they don't have a soul, but they still, you know, they feel this longing of wanting to be human. And that came from my passion of the Alien saga and also Prometheus Covenant, where there is this robot, this synthetic, that really wants to feel what humans feel and tries so hard, but he can't. And of course, now with the rise of AI, uh, I thought that would be really cool. So we used RED for rise, enslave, decimate, rise, evolve, dominate. So yeah, I thought that was a cool idea to have, and he really put that in the music, you know, the whole story and the vibe of the song. And it's also one of my favorites. And it's
Yeah.
coming out tomorrow, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's like one of those that you can't miss. I mean, it has all the right
Mm,
ingredients, either to be performed live or if you're listening to it, it just gets you hyped. Great energy,
yeah.
the vocals, everything is just, it stood out to me immediately. And I think the reason why was that chorus with Ari, like once you break the word down like that, it
Yeah.
makes it pops, it has a little bit more impact for the listener. So I
Definitely.
absolutely love it. You mentioned AI. Are you concerned with the rise of AI and the impact that it has on the music world?
I try not to be concerned, and we talked about it within the band. We experimented or just tried, you know, okay, with lyric writing, see, you know, what AI can come up with. So far, it's cheesy, the lyrics. I think humans come up with better lyrics, and in the end, humans would want to have humans. And I think all the AI generated songs that I heard or that they use, you can sing a song and say, I want it to sound like Katy Perry. It comes really close, but it just, like I said with RED, it has no soul. And I think humans, as much as computers, robots, AI can alleviate many tasks in life and might also eliminate some jobs, it can also be used as a tool. And I think there's no escaping from it. We have to adapt and see how we can incorporate it without it losing the human touch, because I think that's what we all long for at the end of the day. And um, yeah, I choose not to be afraid of it and be remain hopeful that people want to see a live person on stage and not a hologram or an avatar in case maybe when the artist is not around anymore. But yeah, humans want humans and need to have that connection and energy that comes from flesh and blood and not from the computer.
And speaking of connections and flesh and blood, your fellow band members from Epica have been super supportive of you in this release. I'm blown away, like when I see the comments from Rob, from Mark, you know, everybody's just putting so much love and support behind what you're doing. How does that make you feel? I know you guys are a family. I know you guys are all super tight, but when you see that, when they don't have to do it, but they still do it, and they really want to put their love and effort behind anything that you do, how does that make you feel?
Yeah, I'm very happy to have supportive colleagues who also have other projects besides Epica. And I think that's important for us to also experiment outside of Epica, because at the end of the day, Epica benefits from that. If we go a little bit out of our comfort zone, we can bring all that we learned and experience into Epica, and it will enrich the sound of Epica. And I asked Rob to play the bass on my album, and I have Mark singing on 2 songs, the core and RED. Also because Mark and I have been great admirers of Arjen before Epica was even born. So I wanted him to be part of the process as well. And yeah, luckily Epica has no tightening news contract where I am not allowed to do any other projects. And I have been doing many other projects besides of Epica, but to this extent not. So, but they knew I always wanted to do it. And when I told them, okay, guys, I think now I'm going to do a solo album together with Arjen, Mark immediately said, like, yeah, he's the perfect guy for you. You guys are a great team. So they were very supportive. And when my first single came out, some fans were concerned, is this the end of Epica, or is she leaving Epica? But I think some words were maybe mistaken, that I started a solo career. It's a side step from Epica, but Epica still, you know, has my heart, and music has my heart, and I love so many musical styles, and yeah, try to combine as much as I can and pour my heart and soul in all of my musical projects.
Well, I talked to Mark a couple of years ago. I can't remember exactly. We were talking about something, and he said to me that without you, there's no Epica. So he said if you ever decided to move to Mars, maybe on colonizing Venus, whatever the case might be, there's no band without you. That's how much he appreciates you being part of the band and everything that you bring to the table. And I think it speaks volumes for the connection that you guys all have with one another, that you know, united you stand and divided you fall kind of thing. So I think there's a lot to be said about that kind of chemistry that you don't see very often in many bands, but we see that in Epica, and the love and friendship that you guys all have with one another. When you're putting an album like this together, are you thinking of touring? Are you thinking of playing some live shows, at the very least, to do like a release album party?
It would be lovely, but for now, of course, now Epica 9 has been finished writing, recording, and will come out next year, and then the whole Epica touring circus is gonna start. Arjen is not the biggest fan of doing live shows, so but we love this album so much, and it would be a shame not to play these songs live. So we're looking for options, and I hope we can make it happen. But unfortunately, no album release show will take place. But in some way or another, we'll try to come up with a solution. But I can't, besides Epica Tour, to that extent again, because I do also, I'm a mother, and that also is my priority. And same with Epica, we decided to not tour ourselves to the grave, you know, keep things in balance. We're all, 4 of us are parents, have relationships, have family and friends, and we've toured so much. We invested so much of our time into growing the band, that we now also want to make it durable for us to do. And yeah, I have to make choices what I'm going to do. So if Epica is going to start touring, there's almost no free time in between for me to tour on top of that. But I would love to do at least a handful of shows with this Vermillion concept. But so far, there are no concrete plans yet. So it will be a digital release for now. But my vocal cords are itching to sing those songs live for sure. So far, I only do it in my living room.
I was going to say maybe in the shower, but keeping our fingers
That too.
keeping our fingers crossed. One last question for you. You're super busy with music, like you said, as a mom, going to the gym. You have a lot of things on your plate. What is the maybe outside of going to the gym, do you have a hobby, something that becomes almost your reset button when you need to just kind of like clear your mind of all the noise that's in there?
Game of Thrones. HBO, Netflix. Yeah, I love movies and series, and uh, that's a little bit my safe space, watching movies. And I love good snacks. I love good food, and but spending time with family and friends, of course, is always great to, recharge your batteries. And other than that, my DNA is consisting out of music, and uh, it's my way of breathing, singing. I love it so much. And cuddling with my son, I guess. He still has chubby cheeks, so I'm gonna pinch them as long as they're still there, and that's my happy place, is his little cheeks. So
I have a boy, he's 20 now. They grow quickly. When I started my
I
YouTube
know.
channel, when I started the YouTube channel, he was 12. He was a tiny little kid.
Mm,
Now he's taller than me and he's
mm,
20. So in a blink of an eye, they grow. So squeeze those
I
cheeks
know.
every
Yeah,
day because pretty soon he's gonna want
yeah.
nothing to do with you because he's gonna have his friends and all of that stuff.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he told me, Mama, don't do it to me in public. And today I did it. I was like, oh, sorry, but it's just so tempting, But he's 10 now, 10 and a half. So he's reaching up to me to hear. He's a little giant, but still with those cheeks that are so irresistible.
He'll forgive you, I'm sure, as all boys do to their moms. It's something that you
Mm,
cannot escape. Mom's love, you cannot escape that. And it's like mom's
mm.
cooking. You cannot escape that. There's never going to be anybody that's going to cook a meal as good as your mom. So keep
Yeah,
keep
I
enjoying the
agree.
time. Yeah, keep enjoying the time with him.
I will.
Congratulations on this phenomenal solo record. I think you guys did a phenomenal job. Your vocals shine and the pedestal that was created by the music of Aryan. So you guys did a phenomenal job. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you so much. And try to pinch those cheeks of your son still.
I'll do it and then I'll let you know how
See
it
what
goes.
happens.
I'm sure it's not
All
gonna
right.
be, it's not gonna go well. It's not gonna go well.
Okay. Well,
Take
you take
care.
care. It was lovely talking to you.
Bye.
Bye bye.